Hi, I'm host Eric, the one they're talking about. Ken tried to roll the dice, but just crapped out. Thanks for joining us this morning on Talking with Famous People. We're talking about the nature of reality and the nature of the intellect, as understood through the process of reasoning. Now, before we start this video, Nick had linked me to an interesting article about it was saying that really, what is reason? It's not something that's used for decision making. It's something that's used for arguing, which is what I've been saying all along, right? Which is kind of cool. Let's read this other. They did a scientific study of some sort that shows what is self-evident, and they don't need to have a scientific study to show what is implicitly true, which is that all reasoning boils down to making claims. Now I look like that guy in Star Wars. You know that one guy who's got that thing, these things
Yeah.
on his head and the thing. Okay. Anyway, uh, it's for arguing. It's not for making decisions. And that when people try to use rationality or reason to make decisions, they end up in one of two places: making poor decisions, or not making decisions because there's more variables to consider. Well, the reason that it's not a good way to make decisions is because that's not what it's for making personal decisions. It's for making decisions in which some individuals are using coercion against other individuals. In other words, for group decision making, not for individual decision making. Individual decision making should be based on feelings and intuition, one of the two, depending on which is higher in your stack, and or you shouldn't be making personal decisions. If you're like an SE dom, you should have your significant other or your parents or somebody else making decisions for you. You're not equipped to make decisions. So um, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it except being a better arguer and being better at persuasion and using reason better does not mean that you're more right about certain kinds of decisions. It doesn't mean anything at all about that. It probably means you're wrong. It does mean that somebody else is wrong about certain kinds of decisions. That's what it's for. It's for proving people wrong. It's not for knowing what to do. That you have to trust playtime. Playtime tells you what to do. What should I do? Well, what's fun? What feels good? What do you like? That's a good way to know what to do. Well, what not like, well, what should I do? You should join the military so that you can acquire the means to pay for college, so that when you get out of the military, you can go to college for free, and then end up at the end of that with Jordan having his degree in German and having spent his entire 20s preparing to live.
Yeah.
So that's not rational decision in my mind. But what is a rational decision in my mind is the notion that we ought to demand of anybody who would make decisions for us or on our behalf that their decision, their will, their desired protocols, their plan, whatever it is, that it withstand the scrutiny of my mighty rhetorical hammer. Because if it can withstand the scrutiny of that, then okay, let's do that thing. If not, then fuck you. And it should be like that. That's what reason is for. It is not to know how to do things or what to do or what's right. It's about to know what's wrong and what we should say fuck you to. And that's the moral of that story. The end. Ken, take it away.
So, in my situation, I would cite myself as an individual who struggles more in the area of that argumentation. Uh, and beyond that, sometimes with giving advice to people or just talking to people, if I want to help people, I find myself trying to engage, essentially trying to uh, outbeat the arguments or defeat the arguments that they have in their head about why things are bad or something like that, or like what should they do. I find myself trying to engage that sort of arguing of trying to beat them on that front, but I find myself at a loss most of the time because it's taxing to go to that place mentally for extended periods of time.
Because that's requiring you to sit in TI for for too long and too hard. I have the same issue with TI. But it's a level above yours. I'm a level below INTPs, a level above you in terms of how the amount of high octane TI I can handle before it starts tiring me out. And it's certain kinds of TI are different. You probably can handle certain kinds of TI different than I can handle certain kinds of TI. The kind that's I use is is ergonomically fitted to NE. It's not. It is not processing heavy. I don't process complicated sets of variables. If a conditional has more than two variables in it, I parse it out to a separate conditional chunk. Like it's like I just won't deal with it if it's more than two variables because it's too tiring. And I'll just say, well, we'll just make you a separate node then. And that's how I handle everything. I just fucking node shit out so that I don't have to do too much TI work, too much TI heavy lifting, because it's hard to do all those conditionalities.
So what I was reading with the dimensionality of functions was that like the one-dimensional functions heavily rely on past experiences and really aren't communicating a whole lot in terms of arguing. There's not really a whole lot of arguing going on for one-dimensional functions. They're sort of like, yeah, that's nice, but they're primarily going to be trying to rely on already like previously gained knowledge on something, which can cause them to get stuck in a rut. Two-dimensional tries to attach itself to norms, which is where my TI would fall, is two-dimensional. It'd be trying to find more. It's why I sort of get bored. You'll notice when you guys start talking about sort of heavier TI stuff, is because I'm looking for. I'll sort of nod my head or something like that because I'm looking for just something to agree with. I'm looking for binary, yes or no. So it's like that sort of higher level.
To do its job and move on.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate sometimes because there's more to it than that. There's more to every function than just some of these lower dimensionalities. Third dimension is where your TI would be at for ENTPs, and it's more malleable. It doesn't have to hold itself to norms. It's not quite like four-dimensional, because four-dimensional has like a temporal sense about it. It's like sort of tracking it.
Get down.
Sort of tracking it through through time, sort of monitoring the changes and noting that there's much more of a flow to it, I suppose. But
which one is monitoring the changes through time? Kitty distracted me in the middle. Kitty, and
that's fine.
Then being back, Kitty distracted me further.
That'd be four-dimensional, which would be your dominant function. So like INTPs or ISTPs, they would have four-dimensional TI. But then also INTJs, like in MBTI terms, I mean INTJs, ILIs in socionics terms, they would have fourth-dimensional TI. It just wouldn't be the preferred function because it's in the unconscious.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, on some level that makes sense to me because I can understand how NE works in four dimensions. That makes sense. I can... Where did that come out of? Did that come out of the speakers?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh. Okay, so I can... So it's the first dimension is not past experience, it's current experience. Like you're experiencing it in the moment, but you don't really understand it as an entity that changes or evolves or causes impacts over time or interacts with systems. It's just, like, for example, introverted feeling for me, I understand it in one dimension, which is when I'm feeling it, I'm like, there it is, that's a feeling. That's a feeling. I know it is. I can tell. I can feel it right here. Right? But it doesn't mean I can operate with it in any meaningful way across time. So, for example, if somebody says, "Oh, you should trust me because I love you, Eric." Let's say somebody were to say that to me. I would say, "But you might feel differently 5 minutes from now. Who knows?" But an introverted feeler probably would be like, "No, I understand how which of my feelings are temporary and which of them are more permanent. Maybe I don't know." Because I think there's a good reason to think you should trust somebody more because they love you, but I don't understand why that would be the case. It doesn't make any sense to me that that would be reliable in any way, shape, or form, or give me any information about anything, except it obviously does. It does inform shit. People who love somebody very much are going to treat them, at least protect them, or not want to lose them. There's at least loss aversion. So obviously it has some sort of impact, and obviously it's persistent. It's not just, oh, I just had a rush of feeling for 5 seconds. There is a persistent form of it, because otherwise people I might one day just like decide, oh, actually I'm kind of bored of you, Delilah. I don't love you anymore. I'm tired of you, and that would just never happen, right? But I don't understand why. It's impossible for me to conceptualize anything about it. Second dimension, for me, I think would be
FE.
FE?
S,
Okay.
yeah.
SI is also one. SI is also one.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So FE, FE, and what's the other one? Your role, SE, two-dimensional.
FE I get as two dimensional for sure. It's like basically it means shit stops moving as soon as I project out one move. So I'm like, okay, here I'm doing FE shit, and then I'll project out and think, and that's going to change how that person feels about me in the static state that have of shit. How shit is when I'm not around. How shit is when I'm not around is like, Ken feels this way about me because I did this FE thing, and we have these FE displays, and we've interpreted them to each other, and now we have this. And so now that's Ken's little status right there. But I don't see that thing continue to move. If you've got FE a slot above that, I bet that continues to move around. And when I come back, it surprises me that Ken's a little bit different than I had him in my static thing, you know?
I think two things I was going to say is, one, for myself, I think with the whole friends semantics that was going on there, I think maybe that for me was more of a TI thing I was trying to access, was trying to find the on or off position, whereas in actual interactions with people, I don't really hold a binary, like it's much more fluid and dynamic when I'm interacting with people on a sort of emotional or feeling based level.
Well, I think it
Whereas
shows that you value your feelings. That you're not willing to. Those words are semantics like that, like a TI thing,
mhm,
but the feelings aren't. And so it's like you're saying, I don't want to use that word lightly because I don't take the feelings lightly.
mhm,
And the fact that you were sort of like, I think what probably happened there is it struck you at some point along the road here that, oh, I do have those friendly feelings towards these people. I do feel like they're my friends to a
mhm.
certain extent, and you're probably still
Yeah.
processing that and deciding how much. Because here's the thing, it's a time invested issue. It's like you can like somebody a lot right away, but until you've invested time into it, your FI doesn't have time to grow. FI grows like a plant, but
I also
I just
had
can't
the
see it when I'm not looking directly at it. I can't see it.
I also had the experience of being quite friendly with people, and then circumstances in my life change, and I don't find myself necessarily pursuing activities with them. Maybe we live a long distance away, or we don't go to the same locations anymore, and they just drop out of my life. I don't really make any attempt to contact them. They don't make any attempt to contact me. Um,
We, we all have experience with burning out on shit, right?
uh,
Like we go through
right.
phases, and oh, well, I'm not doing that anymore. And that's what this is supposed to be, that an activity that you can
Mm,
go through a phase with. And so when it starts to mush in together with, but these are actually now relationships I have, then that's
right.
confusing.
Hmm.
Because which is it? Is it an activity that you go through a phase with? And I used to play this game online a lot. Yeah, I was friendly with some of the other gamers there, and we chat and stuff. Or is it? And then I stopped doing that. And it's not like those were relationships. I was just those were playmates on that playground. They weren't supposed to
Uh,
persist beyond that. You know, they weren't supposed to leave that playground. But then this thing, it mushes those barriers,
right.
and it's complicated as a consequence.
And the people who I count amongst my friends who I would call friends, who are in my life now, it's because at one point they were play friends, and it's been a decade or more, and I look back and I'm like, oh, they're still here. and there's been plenty of opportunity. Like we've had months of time where sometimes we didn't contact each other for like a span of a few months, and yet reconnection always happened, which means that there was enough there to fight the inertia and be like, okay, let's make contact.
So there's two sort of time elements then to it, because on the one hand it's um, resiliency to distance. That's the thing you
Mm-hmm.
were just talking about. Like, in
Mm-hmm.
other words, does it persist even when there's been a big break? And then the other thing though is total time invested. So you and I have shitloads of total time invested. Yeah, we haven't yet really tested the resiliency of it,
Right.
you know. But
Mm-hmm.
and then of course there's also physical immediacy that is it changes things a bit. Like when
Right.
you're hanging out with somebody in person, there is a dimensionality to that causes you to feel more connected in a real way than somebody you've never actually met in person.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do
Yeah.
that more frequently, I'm sure the connectivity becomes stronger.
Yeah. The uh, the other thing I was going to say earlier is that I think the reason why, like, when you're arguing with someone like the INTPs, notice that they have like that issue with winning on the flow.
They don't like
I think
they don't like the fact that
four
flow
dimensional
exists.
four dimensional TI, they don't see it as a static. Okay, I won that round. It's like things are being checked. It's dynamic. It's more fluid, I think, in their mind. So it's like that three dimensionally comfortable concept,
I mean I
or
think
maybe
they're
more comfortable on three dimensional.
I think they have to learn the fourth dimension, and they have to learn it through debate or something like that. Because I don't think they're
Mm-hmm.
masters. I don't think that's indicative of them being four dimensional and me being three dimensional. I think it's indicative of me being four dimensional and them being three dimensional. Because they're saying I can't conceive of this parsed out into nodes and then a meta whole, because I've never been actually informed that my TI is not going to play its games here and get away with them. See, those guys, they roll in here, they've had their wrongness coddled. It's that simple. They've had their wrongness coddled. And they come in here with caudal wronging syndrome, which is a stinky, stinky syndrome. And they need to get slapped down in no uncertain terms. That's when they learn the fourth dimension of TI. That's the fourth dimension. That's the fifth dimension of TI. Welcome to the fifth dimension of TI, motherfuckers. Bring it.
Luna's asking, "Do I have it?"
Hey, Luna, you got it, baby. You're good to go. Okay, I would have you on my debate team any day of the week, and twice on Sunday. You would win me so many trophies. Oh my God, we'd have been in TOC together. Luna, you and me would win fucking TOC in LD. You're that smart. What, what grade are you in?
She's 15, so like I don't know how schooling works.
Dude, Luna,
10th.
Luna, we gotta hook this shit up. We gotta get you fucking like, we could win some big shit, dude. I'm a really good debate coach, and you're really fucking brilliant. Can we get you over here and go into some of these tournaments? I don't know if your parents are rich enough. Are your parents rich? Hopefully, rich parents are great. They're how I make my way through the world. Mine or other people's, either way.
Uh,
Anyway, Luna, email me, okay? If you actually want to think about doing this, I can give you more information. We can talk about tournaments that are upcoming. We can schedule something. We can prep out that topic. I can have you work with my other high school LD kid, Courtney, who's a fucking beast. She's a ninth grader. Yes, she's a ninth grader. But you learn shitloads from her. So I'm serious about it. Think about it. Of course, no cost for the coaching part or anything like that. Oh yeah, fucking goddamn bullshit, fucking social shit. There's nobody in the world that could be safer to deal with you, Luna, than me. I have spent the last, I don't know how many years coaching middle school and high school students in debate. And it's like I went to China. I opened a fucking school in China on this shit. I went to Shanghai. I went to Taipei. I did camps in Taipei for weeks. I mean, it's frustrating. It's frustrating being a man in that regard. Like, Everyone assumes you want to fuck them. I don't want to fuck your kid, okay? Just get over it. I'm not trying to fuck your child.
It's like I'm trying to get them to the point where they can fuck other people abstractly in argument.
Exactly. I've got trophies to win, and you're worried about sex. Well, I mean, it's like I don't care. I don't care how hot your daughter is. It doesn't matter to me. In this capacity here, I am thinking of one thing only, and that is fucking pow pow. You know that's what I'm doing here, and we're trying to pow, and you're worrying about bullshit. We got asses to kick.
So I think that debate for you is a good example of finding something that engages your ego block thoroughly.
It is tailor made for me, right? It's like what I like to do, what kind of thinking I do, and my personality type, and everything like that. If you were to design a job for perfect where it needs to be, it would involve the following qualities: tell other people how to argue, not just argue, but strategize about other people how to argue. Go up against on a tactical level, on a coaching level, against other really smart coaches, so you have serious competition involved. And then next, have no structured way of doing it, so that you can't ever have a system. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't have a system. Like you might have a set of steps or something, but every topic is new, and you have to be constantly coming up with new shit. And then last of all, most important, make it so that there's zero like work to do. Yeah, like I have no papers to grade, no grading to do. No, I just say if the kids fuck up, it's either like, well, did you do the thing I told you to do or not? I don't have to check to see if they did it. They either win or lose. They provide their own motivation. And then here's the best part of it: somebody pays me to make them win. They do all the work. I get all the money.
Luna, that's because you gotta lose, Luna, until it doesn't hurt.
Exactly. Yeah, you got. That's the thing. Oh, are you a poolside sitter? Poolside sitters are awful people. They say, I'm not ready yet to get in the water. Yeah, you are. Get in the fucking water. And push them in. Well, get over it then. I hate shit like that. That's problem admiration. Stresses you out. The stress is good for you, Luna. Stress is how the body grows stronger. I gotta go do my other thing, Ken. I'm sorry. Okay. I gotta go do that. It's important. I'll be back in not that long. Maybe a while. Who knows? Thank you so much for being here, and don't forget to eat plenty of cheese while watching more exciting episodes of Talking with Famous People.